Now, the UK's Foreign Office has changed its Tunisia travel advice for British tourists, meaning tour companies can start sending holidaymakers to the North African nation. Now, tourists were warned in 2015 not to travel to Tunisia after 38 people, including 30 Britons, were killed by a gunman at Sousse. Now, following the warning, tour companies and cruise operators suspended visits for more than 2 years. The country, which was a popular tourism destination, remains in a state of emergency after a suicide attack on a police bus in November 2015. The Foreign Office continues to warn that terrorists are still very likely to try to carry out attacks in Tunisia and that people should remain vigilant, especially around religious festivals and sites. It advises against any travel close to the Libyan and Algerian borders. Now let's get more on this. Ollie Barrett now joins us in London. Ollie, welcome to the show. Now, we know other countries like the US, France, Italy, even Germany had already relaxed their travel advice to Tunisia. Why exactly did Britain take so long, and why did it decide to relax it now?
Well, part of the reason it took so long is that Britain was uniquely affected, really, by the Sousse attacks, with, as you say, 30 Britons being killed in the incident. It, of course, deeply, therefore, shocked the UK. Since that time, the UK has been working very closely with Tunisian authorities to try and get reassurances that security in the country has been improved, and we have clearly now got to the point where the UK Foreign Office believes that security in terms of the Tunisian government apparatus, but also security at resorts, at hotels, at beaches, is now in a better place than it had been, and is now in a safe enough place for Britons to return. Of course, individual countries have their own intelligence systems as well, so the British government will have been listening to its intelligence agents as well in terms of potential information that they had about further attacks in Tunisia. But it's a case that is, as I say, shocked the UK, and therefore the UK government wanted very much to take its time rather than rush into any change in travel advice.
Now, Ollie, with that travel advisory lifted and suddenly the growing uncertainty over the value of the pound going forward, do you expect to see large volumes of Britons heading to Tunisia now?
I think there's a very strong chance that the Brits will get back to Tunisia pretty quickly, actually. One of the things that now has to take place is that since the advice has been changed, that means that travel insurance, if you are a Briton, is now going to be valid again in Tunisia. That means that the tour operators can start putting together their packages. They can start looking at pricing. They can start working up offers for their customers that include things like flights, but also hotels, entertainment, food, all of that kind of stuff takes a while to put together. So I think we're going to see many of the tour operators starting to offer package holidays towards the end of this year and into the beginning of next year as well. So it'll take a bit of time for those numbers to rise significantly. Of course, back in the period before the Sousse attacks, we were seeing over 400,000 Britons a year head to Tunisia. So it's a huge amount and a huge potential hit that the economy has had to take, with Britons not travelling to the country in great number. We have seen the French and the Germans return in very high numbers, and the Britons I think will probably behave in a similar way. You mentioned the pound. The Brits are very keen on value when it comes to their holidays. And if these Tunisian offers come back on the market well priced, then I think there's a very strong chance that Britons will be back in heavy numbers pretty soon.
And how have we seen travel industry operators in the UK and certainly UK airlines as well responding to the relaxing of this travel advisory?
Yeah, as I say, it takes a little bit of time for those tour operators to put their packages together, but certainly many tour operators here in the UK are talking about already getting inquiries from customers who want to travel, so they will be moving as quickly as possible. And I come back to that point about travel insurance. There have been a few thousand Britons travelling to Tunisia despite the travel ban. Those Britons have found that their travel insurance wouldn't have been valid if anything went wrong. So that is a key part of all of this. Now that the travel insurance is valid again because of this Foreign Office advice, that's what it's all based on. That means that the tour operators can start to really attract customers back, work on their offers, And we should say that we've also seen a big return from British tourists to, for example, Turkey, where there had been security concerns over the last year or so. But Britons are now heading back there in very large numbers indeed. I think we will see a similar situation when it comes to Tunisia. The Britons, of course, are a hardy bunch, and also coming from a country, the UK, which is facing a certain terrorist threat level itself anyway.
Well, many thanks, Ollie, for those insights. Of course, Ollie Barrett joining us there in London.